It started like any normal night. I walked into work, badge scanned, lights flickered on like usual. I work in a small office building, night shift security. Nothing fancy. Just watching cameras, checking doors, walking the halls every hour. I'm usually alone from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. The silence becomes normal after a while. You even begin to enjoy it. That night, something felt different. Not scary, just off. Like something small had changed, but I couldn't tell what. I sat at my desk, turned on the monitors. 6 screens showing every part of the building. Hallways, break room, lobby, the entrance. All empty, just like always. At 11:12 p.m., I took my first round. I walked through each hallway, slowly, checking the locks. Everything looked fine. Quiet, still. But when I came back to the office and looked at the footage from the past 15 minutes, my chest tightened. In the camera feed during my round, I saw something. It was in hallway 3. I was walking past the vending machine. That part was normal. But behind me, about 10 feet away, there was a shadow. A clear, solid shape. Human. So it looked like it was following me. But I never heard footsteps. I never saw it when I turned around. In real life, I was alone. I paused the footage, rewound it, watched it again. There I was walking calmly. And behind me, for maybe 2 seconds, that shadow moved. Then it disappeared, like it melted into the wall. I told myself it was a glitch. Some kind of camera lag. Maybe a double exposure or a reflection. I've seen weird stuff on old cameras before. But the shadow moved with purpose. Not random. It was following me. I didn't tell anyone. I just saved the footage to a USB drive. I don't even know why. I think part of me already knew this was just the beginning. The rest of the night, I sat in my chair and stared at the monitors. I didn't even take my second round. I watched every hallway, waiting. But nothing showed up again. The next morning, as I was about to leave, I looked one last time at the recording. At the exact moment I had stopped in front of the vending machine, when the shadow was closest, my body twitched. Just slightly. Like a shiver. Like I felt something and ignored it. And then I saw something that made my blood go cold. Just before the shadow disappeared, it turned its head toward the camera, like it knew I would be watching. And I swear, for a split second, it smiled. The next night, I almost didn't come in. I kept thinking about that shadow, that smile. Maybe I was just tired. Maybe my brain was playing tricks on me. But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. I walked into the building just before 10 p.m., like always. But this time, my steps felt heavier, like something was pulling me back. I scanned my badge. The front doors clicked open. Inside, the air felt colder than usual. Too still, even for a night shift. I told myself I was being paranoid. The office looked the same. Chairs in place. Coffee machine off. Monitors lined up neatly. Everything quiet. Still, I checked the cameras right away. Nothing. No shadows. No movement. Just empty hallways and rooms. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. But the feeling didn't go away. You know that feeling when someone stands behind you for too long? That cold tingle across your neck? I felt that constantly. But every time I turned around, nothing was there. At 11:15, I forced myself to do my first round. I walked slower than usual, listening, watching every corner. Each hallway felt longer than it should. The lights buzzed louder. The silence felt thick. When I got to hallway 3, the one from last night, I stopped. The vending machine light was flickering. It never flickered before. I stood still, just staring at it, waiting. Like last night, there was nothing behind me. I even turned all the way around to be sure. Still, I felt it, that pressure, like I wasn't alone. I walked back to the office, my heart pounding harder with every step. When I sat back down and looked at the live feed, I froze. I wasn't on the screen. Every other night when I walk through the halls, the cameras show me. Real time. But this time, hallway 3 was empty. I had just been there. I should be there. But the screen showed nothing. I switched to the hallway camera again. Still empty, but I knew I was just there. I was still there. I stared at the monitor for minutes, not blinking, not moving. Then, suddenly, the screen glitched. Just a flicker. Less than a second. When it came back, I was there again, standing in front of the vending machine. But I wasn't alone. The shadow was back. Closer this time. Right behind me. Its head tilted, almost touching mine. And then the screen went black. All of them. Every monitor. Just for 5 seconds. When they came back on, everything was normal. No shadow. No me. Like none of it happened. But I know what I saw. And now I think, whatever it is, it wants me to see it. The next morning, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw it. That shadow, standing so close, almost breathing down my neck. By the time my shift came around again, I had already made up my mind. I needed answers. I needed to watch the recordings from the night before, frame by frame. I got to work early, around 9:30 p.m. The sky was dark, and the wind outside felt sharp, like it was warning me to go back home. But I didn't listen. Inside the building, everything looked the same. Normal. Too normal. Like nothing weird had ever happened. But I knew better now. That's how it works. It hides in the normal. I sat down, turned on the system, and pulled up the recordings from last night. The file was missing. The entire folder for that night was just gone. That's not supposed to happen. The footage gets saved automatically. Even if someone deletes it, there's always a backup. But not this time. It was like the whole shift had been erased. Except for one thing. There was one short clip, only 13 seconds long, titled, "Do Understand for." I didn't name it, and no one else has access to this system but me. I could play. The video was from hallway 3. The camera pointed toward the vending machine again. The timestamp said 11:18 p.m., right when I had been standing there. The clip started with silence. Then static filled the screen. Through the static, I could barely see myself standing still, facing the machine. And then the shadow appeared, slowly, from the side of the screen. It moved with that same slow, smooth motion. No sound, no footsteps, no warning. It stopped behind me. Close. Too close. Then, something happened I can't explain. The screen went pitch black. But the audio kept going. I heard a whisper. It wasn't clear. It wasn't loud. But it was close. Like it was inside my ear. I rewound that part over and over, trying to understand what it said. And finally I caught it. One word. Stay. The screen came back for half a second. Just enough for me to see one final frame. It was a close-up of my face. But not from the hallway camera. It was from behind the monitor. Like someone or something was watching me from my own office. I shut off the video. I backed away from the desk. The room felt smaller, like the walls were closing in. I looked around. Nothing there. But I know what I saw. That clip, that whisper, it wasn't just a warning. It was a message. It doesn't want me to leave. It wants me to stay. And I think it wants me to see what comes next. That night, I didn't leave my chair. I didn't move. I didn't even blink for a long time. All I could think about was the shadow, the way it stood behind me, the way it whispered, the way it looked directly into the camera, like it knew I was watching. I kept the monitors on, all of them, even the ones with nothing but static. At 2:03 a.m., I noticed something strange. On screen 4, the hallway by the elevators, I saw a shadow. Just a faint shape. Right on the wall. It wasn't moving. It wasn't clear. But the thing is, there was no one in the hallway. Nothing to cast a shadow. I looked again. It had the shape of a person. Shoulders. Even arms. But it was too tall. Way taller than a normal man. The head nearly touched the ceiling. And it was pointing. Just standing there, arm raised, finger stretched out, pointing straight toward the camera. I blinked. The image glitched, and when it came back, the shadow was gone. I leaned closer, trying to see if it had just moved out of frame. That's when I saw something else. My own shadow. On the office wall behind me. So I wasn't moving, but the shadow was. Slowly, its hand rose and started to wave. I froze. I turned my head to the wall behind me. Nothing there. But on the screen, my shadow was still waving. Not fast. Not playful. It was a slow, side-to-side motion, like someone saying goodbye or warning me to run. I stood up, heart racing. The wave stopped. The shadow on the screen turned around. Then it stepped forward, toward the camera, toward me. I backed away from the monitors. Every screen went black. Then, one by one, they flicked back on. Empty halls, empty rooms, normal, like nothing had happened. But I know shadows. I know how they move. I know what causes them. That thing on the wall? That wasn't me. It looked like me, but it wasn't mine. After that night, I started hearing things. At first, I thought it was just in my head. Long nights, no sleep, too much coffee, my mind playing games. But the sounds didn't go away, and they started saying my name. It began as whispers, faint, almost like the wind. I'd hear it while walking down the hall, just behind me, so soft I wasn't even sure it was real. But then it got louder, more clear. It always came from somewhere I had just been, like it was following me, watching me. It didn't happen every night, only sometimes. That made it worse, because I never knew when it would start. One night, around 1:30 a.m., I was in the break room, just pouring coffee. I hadn't seen anything strange on the monitors yet. Everything seemed calm. Then I heard it. So, cold. Hey! I turned around. No one was there. The room was empty. The lights were still. I waited, listening. Nothing. I shook it off. Told myself it was the air vent. Or maybe I was just losing it. I sat back down in the office, checked the hallway feed. Everything looked normal. Until I rewinded 60 seconds. Just to be sure. And there it was. A shape, barely visible, standing just outside the break room door. Not entering. Not moving. Just standing. It didn't show up on the live feed. Only in the recording. I leaned forward, squinting at the screen, trying to make out a face. And then, on my headset, I heard it again. Hey! Louder this time. I see you, my name. I ripped the headset off and threw it across the room. The voice was real. It said my name. Not just a whisper. Not a glitch. Not static. It knew me. I stood up and scanned the office. Nothing. I checked the door. Still locked. But the air felt heavy. Like the room wasn't empty anymore. I turned the monitors off for the rest of the night. I didn't want to see it. Not again. But it wants me to hear it now. It's not hiding anymore. It's getting closer. And it knows who I am. By this point, I stopped trying to explain it. The whispers. The shadows. The missing footage. It wasn't in my head. Something was here. And it was playing with me. Still, I kept coming back. Every night. I don't know why. Maybe I was scared to stop. Like leaving would somehow make it worse. Like it would follow me home. That night, everything was quiet for the first few hours. Too quiet. At 2 a.m., I stood up to stretch my legs. I decided to check the back hall, one I don't usually walk unless something triggers the alarm. It's the hallway that leads to the archive room. No windows. Just a long, dark corridor with one heavy metal door at the end. That door is always locked. No one goes in there at night. No one's supposed to. As I walked down the hall, I felt that tightness in my chest again. Like something was watching me from behind. I turned around. Nothing. I kept walking. My flashlight started flickering, even though the battery was new. I tapped it. The light came back, but dimmer. I reached the archive door and stopped. It was open, just a crack. That door never opens without a key. It locks automatically. I even checked it the night before. It was sealed shut, but now it was open, like someone was inside. I stood there, staring at the gap. The space between the door and the frame was pure black. I couldn't see anything inside. I whispered, "Hello." No answer. I pushed the door gently with 2 fingers. It opened slowly. A cold draft brushed past my face. Inside was darkness, deeper than it should have been. I aimed my flashlight. It flickered again and died. No light, no sound. I stepped back. My heart was pounding in my ears. Then I heard something. From inside the archive room. A single, soft click. Like someone tapping their nail against metal. Twice. 3 times. Then silence. I turned and walked back. I didn't run. I didn't want to show fear. But I didn't look back either. When I got to the office and checked the security feed, the hallway camera was frozen. The last image it captured was me, standing in front of the door. And just behind the door, in the darkness, a pale hand, thin, long fingers, wrapped around the edge, like something had been pulling it open from the other side. I hit rewind. The file was gone. Like the system didn't want me to see it twice. Or maybe whatever's in that room doesn't want to be seen at all. I didn't sleep the next day. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that hand, those long fingers wrapped around the edge of the door. I wanted to forget it. I really did. So that night, I made a decision. I told myself, don't look at the cameras. Don't check the halls. Don't listen. Just sit at the desk, finish the shift, and leave. I thought maybe if I ignored it, it would go away. At 10 p.m., I walked into the building like usual, swiped my badge, sat at the desk. The monitors were already on. I didn't touch them. I opened a book, pretending to read. I played music in my earbuds, soft enough to hear if someone came in, but loud enough to drown out the silence. I didn't look at the screens. Not once. Hours passed. Midnight. 1 a.m. Still nothing. Part of me started to believe it might work. Then, the lights flickered. Just once. Then again. The hallway lights dimmed, one by one, like someone was walking past them. I told myself, don't check. Don't give it attention. I kept staring at my book. Then I noticed something. The air felt colder. My breath was visible. Inside the building, the heat was on. It's never that cold. My music stopped. Just cut off. Like the power died, but my phone still had battery. Then the silence came. The thick, pressing kind. Heavy. Almost alive. And then, knock, knock. 2 slow knocks. On the office door behind me. I didn't move. Another knock. Louder. Then I heard the doorknob turn. But it didn't open. It just clicked. And clicked. And clicked again. I squeezed my eyes shut. I whispered, go away. Go away. Go away. Everything stopped. Silence. I opened my eyes. And stared straight ahead at the blank wall in front of me. And then, my shadow moved. Not all of me, just the shadow. Its head turned slowly to the left, toward the door. But I hadn't moved. It wasn't copying me anymore. It was looking for something. Or someone. I stood up fast and turned around. The door was closed. Nothing behind it. But my shadow, still stretched across the wall, was smiling. I swear it was smiling. I turned the lights on full. Everything bright. And still, the shadow stayed. Frozen. Its mouth still curled upward. I never believed ignoring something could make it worse. But I was wrong. It wanted my attention. And when I didn't give it, it came looking for me. I didn't go home after that shift. I sat in my car until the sun came up, just staring at the building, wondering what I'd brought into my life. I told myself I would quit, call the manager, walk away, never step into that place again. But I didn't, because some part of me knew it wouldn't matter anymore. The next night, I walked in like I always did. Badge beeped, door clicked. Everything looked normal, like always. But I felt different, like I had already stepped into something I couldn't leave behind. At midnight, I looked at the monitors and saw myself standing in hallway 3. But I wasn't there. I was in the office, staring at the screen. I even waved at the camera just to prove it. But the figure on the screen, it didn't wave. It just stood there, perfectly still, head slightly down, hands by its side, wearing the same uniform, same hair, same build, same face. It was me, but not me. I stared at it for a full minute, not breathing. Then, slowly, it turned its head toward the camera and smiled. That smile, it wasn't right. Too wide, too calm, like it knew I was watching. I reached for the hallway controls, ready to rewind the footage. The screen blinked, and the figure was gone. I checked every hallway camera. Nothing. Then I heard it. A soft scrape, like shoes on tile, right outside the office. I didn't move, didn't speak, just listened. The door was locked. I had made sure of it. Another sound. Breathing. Not mine. So, just outside. Like someone or something standing with its face pressed close to the door. Then I heard it whisper. But it wasn't just any whisper. It was my voice, mimicking me, repeating the same words I had whispered last night. Go away, go away, go away. But this time, it sounded happy, like it was enjoying it. I backed away from the door. Then the lights flickered, and my shadow appeared again on the wall. But this time, it wasn't alone. There were 2 shadows now, both shaped like me, one standing, the other leaning over, head tilted, as if whispering something into the first one's ear. And both were smiling. I blinked, and the second one was gone. Just like that. But the smile stayed in my mind, because it wasn't mine. Not anymore. Tonight felt wrong from the second I stepped into the building. The lights buzzed louder. The air was thicker, like it didn't want me there, but also didn't want me to leave. Kept my eyes down. I didn't want to look at the cameras tonight, but I had to, because now it wasn't just in the hallways. It was following me into the mirrors. I first noticed it in the restroom. It was around 3 a.m. I'd gone in to splash cold water on my face, hoping to stay awake. I kept telling myself I was imagining things, that stress and no sleep were messing with my head. But when I looked into the mirror, I saw it again. At first, it was just me. Same face, same eyes. But then something strange happened. I wiped water off my face with my sleeve, but the reflection didn't move. It stood completely still, eyes locked on mine. And then it blinked. But I hadn't. I froze. My hands were still midair, but my reflection slowly lowered its arms. I took a step back. So did it, but slower, like it was deciding what to do next. Then, the mouth in the mirror started to move. But I didn't speak. It whispered something I couldn't hear. Its lips barely moved, but I could feel the words in my chest. Not in my ears. In my body. I leaned in closer, and it smiled, whiter than before, like it was proud, like it knew I wanted to understand. That was the worst part. For 1 second, I felt curious, like I wanted to hear what it had to say, like I trusted it. But then the lights in the restroom blinked out completely. I stepped back fast, heart pounding. When the lights came back, the mirror was empty. No reflection. Just my own terrified face staring into a blank wall of glass. I walked out fast. Didn't even dry my hands. I could still feel the cold from the mirror on my skin. Back in the office, I checked the footage from the restroom. Nothing was there. No me. No mirror. Just static. For 10 full minutes. Like I had disappeared. I looked down at my hands. My sleeves were still wet. So I knew it happened. And the reflection, it wasn't trying to copy me anymore. It was practicing. I thought I had seen everything. But I was wrong. That night, something crossed a line. I was sitting at my desk, just watching the screens, trying to stay calm. Suddenly, the door behind me creaked open. Slowly. I didn't hear footsteps. No wind. No noise. Just the door. I didn't dare turn around. My heart was pounding so loud, I was sure it would give me away. The air got cold, so cold my breath was visible again. A soft voice behind me whispered. It sounded like me, but it wasn't. It said, "You can't leave." I swallowed hard. I slowly turned my head. The office was empty. No one. But the door was still open. And the shadow from before, it was standing just beyond the doorway. Watching me. I blinked. It moved closer. One slow step. Then another. The lights flickered and dimmed. I stood up, backing away toward the hallway. The shadow followed. Closer, closer, until it was almost touching me. Then it smiled. That terrible smile. Empty. Like it was waiting for me to do something. I felt frozen. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. And then I woke up. My head was on the desk. The monitors were off. The door was closed. The room was warm again. I looked at my watch. It was 7 a.m. Shift over. I was alone. But I know what I felt. And I know what I saw. It's not just behind me on the cameras. It's real. And it's closer than ever. That night I felt different. Like something had changed inside the building. I sat at the desk, watching the monitors like usual. But the cameras, they weren't normal. At first, I noticed one camera was moving. Slowly. Almost like it was alive. The camera pointed toward me. I blinked. I thought it was a glitch. But then another camera moved. And another. Until all the cameras were facing me. Not toward the hallways. Not toward the doors. Just me. I tried to look away. But my eyes kept going back to the screens. And on every screen I saw myself. Standing at the desk. But not moving. Just staring. And smiling. That smile again. The wrong smile. Suddenly, the monitors flickered. The image of me disappeared. In its place was the shadow. Watching me. Closer than ever. The cameras started to change. Showing rooms I didn't recognize. Hallways I had never seen. And then one camera showed the room I was in. But it was empty. No me. No shadow. Just darkness. My heart raced. I reached to turn off the monitors. But the power cut out. The room went black. I heard a soft whisper. Right behind me. Stay. I opened my eyes slowly. The room was dark. But not like before. It felt different. I couldn't see the walls or the ceiling. Just blackness. Like I was floating in space. I tried to move. But my body felt heavy. Like I was stuck. Then I heard it. A voice. Not the whispers anymore. This voice was close. Too close. It said my name. Slowly. Like it was testing me. My name. I wanted to speak. But no sound came out. Then, from the blackness, I saw a light. A small dip. Growing bigger. I felt pulled toward it. I wanted to run. But I couldn't. The light grew until it became a door. A door I knew. The archive room door. I reached out. The voice whispered again. Come in. I hesitated. I didn't know if I should. but something inside me wanted to. The door opened. I stepped through, and suddenly I was back in the building. But it wasn't the same. Everything was wrong. The walls were cracked. The lights flickered like they were dying. The air smelled of dust and cold. And I saw her, a woman, standing at the end of the hallway. She looked like me, but her eyes were empty. No life, just darkness. She smiled and whispered, "Welcome back." I realized then I wasn't alone, and maybe I never was. I stood frozen. The woman didn't move. She just watched me. Her eyes were empty, like black holes. No warmth, no soul. But her smile was the same one. The wrong smile. She started walking toward me. Slow steps. Soundless. My heart was pounding so loud I thought she could hear it. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. She stopped just inches away. Her face was close enough for me to see the details. The pale skin, the dark circles under her eyes, and the smile, that terrible smile. Then she whispered, "You shouldn't be here." I swallowed hard. "Who are you?" I asked, voice shaking. She tilted her head. "Who are you?" The question hit me like a punch. I didn't understand. She reached out her hand. I wanted to pull back, but my body didn't obey. Her fingers touched my cheek. Cold. Ice cold. Then everything changed. The hallway blurred. The lights flickered faster and faster. I felt like I was falling into darkness. And when I opened my eyes again, I was back at the security desk. Alone, or so I thought. Because on the monitor, I saw her, standing behind me, smiling. I stared at the screen. There she was, the woman, standing right behind me. But when I turned around, nothing, just the empty office. I felt cold sweat on my neck. The camera angle changed on its own, showing the archive room, empty. But the door was wide open. My breath quickened. I knew what I had to do. I grabbed my flashlight, walked slowly to the archive room. Every step echoed loud in the silent hall. The door creaked as I pushed it open. Inside was darkness, deeper than any night I'd seen before. I shined the light inside. And there, in the corner, a mirror, covered in dust. I wiped it off, and what I saw made me freeze. It wasn't my reflection. It was hers, the woman with empty eyes, smiling that same wrong smile. Then the mirror started to ripple, like water, and her face moved closer, closer, until it looked like she was trying to come out. I stepped back, and heard a voice. Not from the mirror, but inside my head. "This is where I live now." The truth hit me hard. The woman was me, or what was left of me, and she was trapped behind that mirror, waiting for someone to switch places, to take her place. And now, she wants out. I didn't want to believe it, but now I knew the truth. The woman in the mirror was me, or the part of me trapped behind the glass. And if she wanted out, that meant only one thing. She wanted me gone. That night I prepared. I brought extra batteries for my flashlight. I locked every door I could. I told myself to stay calm. But inside I was shaking. The hours passed slowly. At midnight I heard the whisper again. So, "Come to me." I didn't move. I didn't answer. The lights flickered. Then the door to the archive room creaked open. I held my breath. My heart was pounding. Slowly I walked to the door. The woman's face appeared in the mirror, closer than ever, her smile wide, her eyes empty. Then she spoke. "It's time." I stepped forward. The world around me blurred. The last thing I saw was her reaching through the mirror, cold fingers grabbing mine. And then, darkness. When I woke up, I was back at the desk. The cameras showed the hallways. Empty. Quiet. I was alone. Or was I? I looked at the mirror in the archive room. No face, no shadow, just a smooth surface. I don't know if I escaped, or if she took my place. But one thing is sure, I'm still working night shifts. And every night, I wonder if I'm the one behind the glass now. Every night since then I watch the cameras. I watch the mirrors. I listen for the whispers. Sometimes I catch a glimpse of something behind me, a shadow, a face, but when I turn, I'm always alone. Or at least I think I am. Because sometimes I wonder, is the real me still here? Or am I just the copy now? The one trapped behind the glass, waiting for someone new to take my place? And if that's true, then how long before the night shift starts again?